Hey everyone, if you're a fresher and you're wondering how to answer this most critical question, tell me something about yourself. In that case, in this video, we are going to discuss in detail how to answer that. I'm going to give you a blueprint with which you can actually apply and you can actually get the job application which you're actually aiming for, or I should say dream for. Hey, in this video, I'm going to discuss in detail with you, tell me something about yourself. I'm going to discuss a template where you can actually apply that method. And if you're a fresher and if you're wondering if I'm not able to answer this question, I will be rejected. In that case, if you will follow this template, you will be selected. Okay. So first of all, let's try to understand why do companies actually require this kind of a question. So obviously a lot of students who are watching this video, they're wondering, okay, can I skip this question? Well, obviously you cannot because you're sitting in an interview. But let's try to understand what is the exact scenario there. So the first thing is obviously it is an icebreaker. So what interviewer is trying to understand is they are wanting you to get comfortable with the environment. They understand since you are a fresher, this could be your first interview, so that could be the reason you are nervous. So they don't want you to get nervous. I personally, if I talk about, I have interviewed more than 200 people, and when I see a fresher, I'm able to recognize why this person is a fresher because they have some sort of a nervousness. So that is why I never ask this question, or should I say like, okay, why should I hire you? Something like that. This question of tell me something about yourself is actually an icebreaker with which I'm able to get them on the zone so that they can answer the questions significantly. Secondly, I want to mention this question is going to be very critical. It is going to actually help you ease out the process, or I should say the environment. There is a natural thing. You will get nervous. Okay, I'm a bit nervous right now. You're asking me about, tell me something about myself. I'm not able to recall. Well, this is a moment for you to actually calm yourself, have a sip of water or something like that, and take the course of the interview towards your side so that you can actually crack that. Now, obviously on internet, you must have searched for various ways of answering that, but I have designed a template which I would suggest that if you follow that, you will actually crack the job. For a very specific reason, since I have interviewed so many people, I'm able to understand, I'm able to find out if someone has given a right answer, why that is a right answer or why that is a good answer. So in that case, I have designed this template from my personal experience. I have designed this template talking to various industry experts who actually sort of look into these kind of answers, and they feel that this is the exact answer people should be giving or following these steps which are supposed to be there. Okay, so let's start the process. First of all, the interviewer asking you, tell me something about yourself. So obviously, first thing you have to do, take a deep breath. Obviously, I've not included that, but this is something which you have to actually train yourself. Take a deep breath so that you don't get overwhelmed. Secondly, start with about you. Hey, I'm Avinash and I am a XYZ and I have done this. I'm from this particular college. Now, since we are making this video for a fresher, so your style would be I am Avinash and I have completed my education from this particular college. I graduated in this particular year and I have major like this. A lot of people make this mistake. They will start saying, okay, my father name is this, my mother name is this, my brother name is this, my neighbor name is this, my dog name is this. Nobody wants that. Try to understand. Tell me something about yourself is only about you. If you are a son of a great cricketer, if you're a son of a president of some big country, nobody cares about that because they want to understand about you, because you are the person who is applying for a job, not your father, not your mother, not your sister, not your brother. So when they say, tell me something about yourself, start with about you after taking a deep breath and hardly take 30 seconds. That is it. You don't have to speak anything more than that. Now, I would not suggest that you should take a hard stop at 30 seconds. If the flow is going good, obviously you can make it 35, 40, but try to understand it should be under that only. For a very specific reason, the factual information, if I talk about, they can read it from your resume, which is going to be very vital. So obviously you are repeating something which they already know. Now, the next part, after telling about you, what you have done, like you are completing your graduation, tell something which is relevant for the job, your experience related to that. Let's say you are applying for a, web developer. Okay, so If you have some experience, obviously I would suggest that you should do some internships. If you're looking for internships, obviously check the link in the description. We upload a lot of internships, a lot of companies who are hiring. So I want to mention something. Keep your experience, or I should say explain your relevant experience to that specific role. Let's say you're applying for a web developer. Tell something what you have done in the internship which is relevant to this role. Obviously, you know what is the job description. Obviously, you know what are the roles and responsibilities. So you should align yourself, I should say, or you should make your pitch, if I may, about this relevant experience around that only. You should not stick to what you have done. I'll give a very simple example. Let's say in your city, if you want to move from place A to place B, I have to give the relevant information as per the city and as per the location I'm situated in. It does not mean, like, let's say if I have to move from place A to place B in Mumbai, I'm giving direction based on Delhi. I'm giving direction based on Chennai. I'm giving direction based on Jaipur, Rajasthan, Ahmedabad, whatever that is. Try to understand, if you're in a certain city, you have to give the relevant information according to that city or that location. So in that case also, if you're applying for a job, in that second step, you have to mention everything which is relevant to that job which you have done. If you have not applied for any internship, in that case, what I would suggest, show them or tell them, okay, you have built these projects and how they are relevant to the job role which you are actually hiring for. So your 2 minutes 30 seconds are over. Now obviously there is a good possibility that the interviewer will stop you or maybe ask you any questions. But if they don't ask you any question, in that scenario you should say something exceptional thing you did related to that particular experience which you have shared in the in the last 2 minutes. Why? You're applying for a job. Let's say it is a job of a web developer. So what is happening? They're looking for a candidate who can actually do that, and you have to show that you have some exceptional skills. So you can say something like this: okay, I was applying for a web developer job and I learned about React.js. A simple example, I learned about React.js. I thought this is a cool technology. So what I did, within 3 days, I learned, or I should say enhanced my skills on React.js. Now this is something exceptional. This makes you unique, which is obviously required in the interview. A skill could be, I was in a hackathon, I came to know about this particular technology, like let's say Vue.js, and I thought of it, okay, I should be learning. I was not able to learn anything. I was not able to do anything. So I took a trip to this particular location because my big brother was living there. And for next 3 days, I started learning that. This makes you unique, and this shows that you have a passion to learning. Okay, this is not going to make a huge difference. This is going to make an ultimate difference. For a very specific reason, the interviewer wants to understand if you are the exceptional candidate and how you are different from the other candidates. If you follow these steps, I can give you guarantee, my personal guarantee, that you will crack the role. I'm not saying because I'm going to talk to your interviewer and say, okay, no, they were watching my video and you should hire them. The answer is, here you have given all the required information which the interviewer is looking for. They need this kind of an information, and if you can give it to them, obviously you are selected. Now obviously, apart from that, if you want a bonus tip, which I would say, keep your information, examples, learning, experiences, whatever those are, relevant to the current job role you are applying for. Okay, now this is a bonus tip I have for you. What happens, a lot of time people actually revolve around things. Let's say you're applying for a web developer. Your experience is writing content. Are you going to be selected? Answer is no. They want a web developer and you are a content writer. How you will be selected? So it is better that you keep yourself relevant and don't show anything that is going to be irrelevant, because that is going to raise a question. Okay, this person has 2 kinds of skills. Should I hire them or not? Don't let the interviewer have this kind of question in their brain. If they have it, you will be in a dicey situation. So please, 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 and please make sure that you stay relevant to the job description, roles and responsibilities, and speak out only things which are required. Don't keep anything irrelevant. Now, if you're wondering, okay, I've mentioned that in my resume. In that case, I am going to make a different video where we are going to discuss how you can make a better resume, or I should say what to keep and what not to keep. Okay, now enough for the mouth work, or I should say Gyan Dena. Now let's focus on practical tips of how to actually answer those questions. I'll take an example of a junior web developer. So first thing first, what you will do, you will say about you. How many seconds? 30 seconds. So, hi, I'm Avinash and I have completed my education from this particular institution and I graduated in this particular year. I have scored this amount of marks. That's it. Now, I'm not adding anything because I'm not a fresher, so obviously I cannot say anything irrelevant. I don't want to mention about my certification, but this is how the flow is going to go. At worst, you can mention that yes, your father is working in this particular industry, your mother is working in this particular industry. That is it. Nothing more than that. Next, your relevant experience around the job role. So I was working in this particular internship where I got now this is way back, so I'm not sure if I'm able to recall that. So I got the opportunity of an internship where I was supposed to actually use the Google Maps API and supposed to integrate their data into their database. So what I learned about how to use Google Maps using PHP language. Then since I was enhancing and learning the skills of CodeIgniter, I use CodeIgniter to fetch the data from that particular Google API and I put the data into the database of the company, and where we explored the various other options. Now, one thing which I learned about it, like there is a big difference between a production-based application as well as the local development. So you can see here, I've spoken these terms: PHP, CodeIgniter, Google Maps API, integration, production, localhost, if I may. So what happens? The interviewer who is actually asking this question understands, okay, yes, you have the practical knowledge around this. You're not bluffing. Okay, so obviously you can understand I've told everything related to the job experience. So if the job was asking me junior web developer as a PHP as an expertise, so this is probably the right answer you are supposed to give. So we have done the next 120 seconds. Now in next 60 seconds, you can mention about the relevant experience. So you can mention like, okay, when I got this opportunity, I was not aware of this frameworks like Bootstrap. I was not aware of CodeIgniter, different stuff. So I learned them. I go to YouTube and I spent 2 whole days to learn these frameworks and I implemented that. So actually that enhanced my skill and made my learning quite amazing. I was able to learn, okay, apart from PHP, there are something known as frameworks. And after that, I realized, okay, there is something known as Laravel itself. Now, try to understand. Whatever I'm trying to say is always everything is relevant for a student who is actually looking for that kind of an answer. Okay, I'm sorry, not relevant to the student, it is relevant for the interviewer. So try to understand in this 30, 120 and 60 seconds, in around 210 seconds, that is hardly 4 minutes, that is 3.5 minutes if I may. I have given all the required information which is now required. Now, obviously, the interviewer is now going to understand how did you learn PHP, how did you learn CodeIgniter, how did you learn Laravel. So now you obviously understand what is supposed to be answered. So you are going to give the answer, but make sure it has to be relevant to the industry. So I hope all your doubts are now clear with this video. But I understand you must be having some questions. In that case, comment section is the right section for you. But if you need some guidance related to your career, which could not be answered in this video, obviously click on the link which is given in the description of this video and someone from our team will make sure that your career doubt is clear.